Hey there, we are in the Redbud garden on the side yard here, and this is that Redbud that I had transplanted a couple years back from the back part of our property that had a lot of die off on the top part of the canopy, but has been shooting out new growth from the bottom here, kind of turning itself into a multi-stem specimen, we'll call it. So I don't want it here anymore. I got the new one planted over here that I purchased from a local nursery because I wasn't sure how this one was going to fill out. And it's just, you know, not the proportionally right size that I want right now. So I already have a hole dug in the front yard along kind of the spruces and pines that are planted up there along the row. There's an open space. And I'm going to put it there because redbuds are, you know, an understory tree, so they can tolerate the part shade conditions. Plus, I think in the springtime that would be a really nice pop of color up there along that kind of evergreen. Hopefully it'll survive up there. If it doesn't, it's not really that big of a loss to me. You know, this is something that I took from our property that is growing naturally back there. We have a lot of them, and I just wanted to try it out. So today is actually a pretty overcast day, and we're going to get lots of rain in a couple hours. So I feel like that's a really good time to get this transplanted, and it'll get soaked in really well. And then in its place, I have these 3 fluffy Arborvitae that I want to put and kind of like create this corner wall that really adds like structure to this garden bed. And then I will be removing these 3 Maimone Weigelas, which actually all kind of look a little bit different. That's funny, the coloration. And they will go elsewhere in the gardens. And yeah, and I think that's it for now. So let's get this out. And I want them to grow in together. So we're gonna err on the side of like 3-foot widths. 2, 3. Yeah, so this should be good right there. And they shouldn't grow out too much here. I think this is about the perfect spot. And then that last one will go like right here. The fluffy arbs are a western arborvitae. Deer are supposed to like them less than our native eastern ones here in my area. And that fact has actually proven true in my yard at least. Last fall, I put that one in the ground over there, used it as kind of a test, I guess, tested the deer with it, and it got nibbled maybe once, Not very much damage was sustained. Like, I think it'll still sort of grow in and look relatively normal. And then they never came back for it. And obviously I've been spraying it with the deer repellent that I use, but I'm hoping that that fact remains true. Again, this is just like a risk you take. You know, I obviously know that the deer could come along and destroy these tonight. But I really want this interest. I really like these. So for me, it's worth the gamble. Also, I get a pretty good price on these. These are $35 from the nursery that I go to. It's called G Farms. And Brandon and I are members of the American Conifer Society. So we get an additional 25% off of trees and shrubs for that membership through G Farms. And they are actually, they specialize in rare and unique conifers. It's like my favorite place. It's so wonderful to look at all the different conifers I cannot grow. That's actually where we purchased the Bruns spruce and the serviceberry and the redbud that I planted earlier in the year. Is through them. And I'm trying to plant these a little high, as I do with most things, or as I try to do with most things. This side is higher up, this part of the yard, than that, so everything kind of drains down that way. But I mean, so again, doesn't look as great as the other two, but I think that that's something that can be recovered from. See the difference in the variegation there? This one's got a lot more white. This is a much darker pink. Both very pretty. The darker one didn't actually bloom. This one did a little bit. Actually, there's still one hanging on. And then this third one, which I have to get a container for, is kind of in the middle. I guess it leans more towards this, but it's got a lot of darker pink in there as well. I actually did end up going back to a nursery and getting 3 of the Boom Chocolotta geraniums. And I kind of want to compare the difference between the Boom Chocolottas and the Dark Rider that I put in the Daydream garden. These I'm going to put right here. I think that they'll have a nice foliage contrast against these spireas, and I think it'll look nice underneath the redbud here as well. So I think I like this cluster here. These get 24 to 26 inches tall and need to be spaced 28 inches apart. So spread them out a little bit more. And there is going to be a bit of these wood chips getting mixed into these holes. I'm not very worried. This stuff has been on here for close to a year. So it should be okay. If anything, it's just going to add better drainage to those holes. When I first put these Boom Chocolottas here to see if I kind of liked this spot for them, I was almost taken aback with my own audacity at pairing them with this jewel tone of the spirea, but I think it works really nice. They're both cool colors. They're not, you know, one's not a warm. They're both definitely bright, definitely cool, and I think that they work together, audacious or not. Color theory is one of those things that is important to gardening, and I don't particularly have the jargon for it, the vocabulary. It's just kind of one of those, you know it when you see it, you know if something works next to something else. and vice versa, you know, if it doesn't, it's just jarring to the eye. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be jarring to some people's eyes, but I liked it. So I have a few other things to go in that I'm not quite ready yet for. This is a Baptisia I got. It is a Decadence Deluxe Periwinkle Popsicle. Mouthful of a name there. Fortunately, we missed the bloom. It's already got its little pods going. And I'm thinking that should go right in this area. I might have to kind of rearrange these alliums a bit, and I have a couple of echinaceas that need to be pulled out. And actually, it looks like maybe some sort of bunny scuffle went on here, because there is a bunch of bunny hair here, and they all but destroyed that echinacea and kind of broke some of the daisies as well. That's unfortunate. Yeah, kind of beat this echinacea up too. They should be fine though. So yeah, kind of move a few things out right here to make room for that Baptisia. And although it will grow taller than these daisies, I think I will like that. I think that that adds some interest, having some taller things in front of shorter things, especially in a large bed like this, so it's not just, you know, stacked kind of like that. So that should work well. One thing that I have not shared is I did clean up this edge. So this is the spot that connected this bed to this bed. I'll see if I can find a photo from last year to show, you know, what it looked like before. I haven't brought more soil in yet, so I need to fill this. There's a bit of a step down. I got this edge cleaned up and a bunch of sod removed, like in this section, and some fill soil brought in, and I planted, I need to mulch still, some of the asters that I had, bergamots, and the Joe Pye weed, and then those two lobelias right there. I also put in one of the Northwinds switchgrasses that I had taken from this part of the bed, which is still majorly under construction. And got one of the blue kazoos, one of the blue kazoo spireas in right there. The veronicas have since flowered and are done. I'm going to trim them back and see if I can't get another flush out of them, but they were blooming at the same time as these iris, and it was just an absolutely gorgeous combination. I'll throw a photo up and share that. The daisies are getting close, so that'll be nice. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to put in here. I don't know, something I'll have to think about. And right there is that red rover persicaria that I got at the same time as the lobelia. Here is one of those plugs of the avalanche featherweed grass, and that'll be in front of the boom chocolottas that we just planted right here, which are just covered in cottonwood fluffs. They're everywhere. Everybody is covered in it. Every day when I'm out here working, they're just like flying up my nostrils, sticking to me. It's awful. There's a lot of sneezing. So hopefully that will be done with soon, because it's just a blanket of white puffs all over. So the third arb is kind of hidden behind that avalanche grass, but obviously it'll grow bigger than that, and it'll really create this kind of defining edge that I am looking for, giving some evergreen interest, giving a backdrop to all of this stuff, and kind of, you know, delineating the border of this garden and creating a wall. I think will be really nice. And it'll add a bit of mystery. You kind of won't know what is beyond that corner here. So now my focus needs to be kind of on this part of the bed. We did finally, well, not really we, Brandon did finally get this walnut stump taken out here. And yeah, it's just a bit of a mess. I need to fix this soil issue. Our lawnmower broke, so we're in between lawnmowers right now, but I want to get this all cut down really low and sheet mulch it, lay some cardboard down, lay some of the wood chips that I got. as well as on the other side of it, and kind of extend that line so that it wraps to the back of where this spruce is going to be, and yeah, kind of tweak the bed line that way. I will be reaching out to the propane company shortly to come and remove this. The ground is definitely hard now. They will not sink into it. And hopefully this weekend I will be finishing my concrete paver walkway in the courtyard area. So this should all be gone as well. In the dream world, this all just falls into place really well like that. Oh, and in good news, the serviceberry is loaded with berries. I've seen robins over here plucking from them. I've plucked a few myself, quite tasty. So thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you in the next video.